to the groove of this. Today, we're going to be talking about the psychic mirror. It's just an idea of people that judge other people way too often. And I think I used to be guilty of this too until I realized that this principle, when it was said out loud, made a lot of sense. I mean, have you ever noticed when you judge people, it actually might say more about you than it might about them? So I learned this from Tai Lopez's 67-step program, and it might change how you see yourself, your relationships, and even your success. But I'm compiling a lot of lessons that I've learned, and I'm not saying any approach is right, but I really wanted my kids to be exposed to at least different types of frameworks, different types of thinking, so that they can see why not that applies to their lives, right? Because it doesn't matter what you want to do, right? If they want to build authority, let's say they want to become a leader in real estate development, right? Or leadership or communication, doesn't matter what it is, right? It starts with being someone that people can trust, right? So I want to break it down simply, right? Let's have some fun with it. Let's come up with some fifth grader analogies because that's what I'm really learning how to do is trying to become a better dad, right? So let's talk about a psychic mirror, right? It's just the whole concept that when you judge others, you're usually revealing your own fears, your own weaknesses, your own insecurities. And the best analogy I've heard about this one is imagine you have imagine you're wearing glasses and there's a big smudge on your glasses, right? If when you have a smudge on your glasses, everywhere you look, you think the world is dirty. But the dirt is actually on your own lenses. Interesting, right? So when you criticize someone for being too bossy, being too dressy, being too underdressed, being too selfish, right? Ask yourself, that's something that you're worried about in yourself, right? Great leaders, they don't waste time just throwing judgment around, right? They use the time to grow instead. When you judge other people, you become negative. You lose focus. And then when you prejudge, sometimes you miss these opportunities to build real partnerships. Just because that person isn't wearing a three-piece suit, you're not going to go talk to them. When that might end up becoming the best business partner you ever, just give people a chance, right? It's almost like if you're trying to run a race, right? We all know that life is a marathon, right? You're not sprinting. But imagine you're running a race and you are carrying a backpack, a heavy backpack full of rocks. And every time you decide to judge someone unfairly for some reason, you're essentially throwing another rock in your bag. You're making it harder for yourself to grow. You're going to slow yourself down. You're making life way more difficult, right? If you are a real estate developer and you think about community building, right? Positivity, being solution oriented to looking for the solutions to problems will likely open more doors than criticism will ever will. So just think about that. Okay. When you decide, and I think this is so important because I want our kids to grow up to be stand up individuals. And instead of judging others, right, I really want them to pause and think of, like, hey, why did that bother me? Why did that thought come into my head? Is there something inside me that I need to work on? That's so important, right? When you go looking for treasure, this is great because my dog's been playing this game where she pours things out and looks for his treasure. Let's say you're looking for treasure on a beach, right? Using a metal detector, you're like scanning the beach. When it beeps, right? You don't blame the sand for covering the treasure in the first place. You dig to find the treasure that's underneath. Same concept, right? Each judgment might be a clue about your own area for improvement. Follow those clues. They'll probably make you stronger. They'll probably make you wiser. They'll probably make you a better leader. Okay? Now, let's keep going. I really hope that you guys can all model patience because I think this is probably the hardest thing to do, especially when our kids are going to school. They're around comparison all the time. And this is why I have this urgency to get these lessons recorded because if I don't get it recorded, I'm really afraid that, hey, should my time come too soon? Did I leave the right lessons for my kids? Right. So let's keep talking about. Let's talk about some practical steps. Right. How do you stop judging and really start growing? Right. It's one thing to understand this whole concept of when you judge others, you actually get judged back. Right. There are three different simple habits. Right. When you pause before you judge. Right. When you feel yourself about to criticize someone, just stop. Ask yourself, what what is this really about? Right. Flip it into a question instead of saying they're lazy, they don't get it. You might ask yourself, hey, where am I not giving 100% of my life? Right. And this is the most important, practicing gratitude instead of judgment, focusing on the good in people, what you admire in people, not just what annoys you. That can be such a big difference. I mean, when you learn to find a gift in someone, if you ever tell someone that, hey, you have this gift of just being super energetic, that's probably one of the most authentic compliments you can ever give people. And it shines a light on the good characteristics, right? And that inevitably leads you to meeting more friends, making more friends, having more rich relationships. I really hope my kids really learn this, that someone out there can really use a compliment today. They really can. So why not you be the one to give it? Be the one to give it, right? It's almost if, let's say, you're playing video games, right, as a kid. When you just focus on the enemies, the big bad boss, you get stressed playing. But sometimes when you focus on, let's just collect the coins, right? Let's you play Mario, just collect the coins. And you reach the goal, the game feels way more fun, especially when you're playing with friends. Life works the same way. Focus on the growth, focus on the positivity. I'm not saying you can't be down. Again, this is the 80-20 rule, right? Spend 20% thinking about how to mitigate risk, but spend the other 80% thinking about how do you grow? How do you become the best version of yourself? What is the best case scenario, right? And surround yourself with those people that are like that. All right, let's keep going. So I hope this was helpful, everybody. I mean, if you're the perfect person, you never make mistakes. I mean, this key to life is not for you. But I can honestly say that whenever I look back, was like they say, everything in hindsight is 2020. There could always be one little thing that you could have improved about everything. So don't stress. Maybe you look at back a situation and you say, hey, where's one way I could have improved upon this? And that will set yourself up for so much improvement, and that will compound over and over and over. So I share this key because it's so important, and it's so easy to get caught up if you're just scrolling through social media, you're scrolling through the news, it's everything just negative. Be the positive change and role model that you wish you got. I hope this was helpful, everybody. Again, I'm putting in these lessons for our kids. I'm not saying this is the right way, but usually I have found whenever I'm too critical of other people, it comes in right back and bites you in the rear end. When you start judging other people way too harshly instead of giving them grace, when someone cuts you off, I mean, this is a great phrase, right? Hey, if you can be in a bad mood because of no reason, then you must be in a good mood for no reason. That person that cut you off today on the highway, maybe they're rushing to get their kid to the hospital. Isn't that a better thought? There's something, because with the other negative thought, you can't do anything with it anyways, right? You could just say, oh, they cut me off, they're a terrible person, they don't know how to drive, blah, 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 blah. Or you say, wow, that's a really caring parent. He or she must be trying to get their kid to the hospital because of an emergency. I wish the best for them. Same situation, two different thoughts. One affects you negatively, the other affects you positively. It's your choice. It really is, to make the right choice for yourself. One that puts you in a better position to grow, to be happy, to enjoy the day. Because I love you all so much. And if my family's watching this one day, just know that I'm doing all this stuff for all of you. And there's no place else I'd rather be than to pass on some of the most important lessons, skills, and relationships to everybody. I'm not holding anything back. This is exactly what I would tell my kids. All right. Have an amazing day, everybody. I hope you spent some quality time with your family and friends today, because that's what life is all about. I had some great time playing with my daughter today. It was so fun. It was so fun. Just have a great night. I'll see you all tomorrow. Have a good one, everybody. Oh, don't forget, we just released a podcast on youtube.com/at Kent_HG. New podcast about horizontal development. You're going to check it out. Go, go, go. Go check it out.